Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hello, welcome to Eventful Endeavors. I'm your host, Katie Louise, here with Christie from Ainsworth House Gardens. Christie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So, Christie, you told me a lot about your story already, but for our listeners who are just hearing about you for the first time, you bought a wedding venue pretty recently, and it was quite the adventure for you and your husband. So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Definitely. My husband and I purchased Ainsworth House and Gardens, which is a historic wedding and event center in Oregon City, Oregon. Just about 3.5 years ago, we began that process 13 months before that. And so it was quite an arduous process. And we learned about the venue sale. It was sort of a, a backdoor quiet deal. The previous owner had run the venue for about 17 or 18 years, and he didn't want his venue bookings to suffer if people knew that he was selling the business.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it was a little bit kind of on the down low. And my brother and sister-in-law were friends with the broker who was helping that owner sell the business. And so their friend said, "Do you know anybody?" And it just so happened that John and I were up from Southern California where we lived, visiting for Thanksgiving. And my sister-in-law kind of offhandedly made a remark about, "You should buy Ainsworth House and Gardens." And I sort of blew it off. And then a couple days later, she said it in front of John. And John said, "What's that? Maybe we should. Well, tell me more." So that was sort of how it started.
John
We
is your
ended up
husband, right?
John's my husband, yeah.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so we did a drive-by of the venue. It's only about 2.5 miles from my brother's house, and it's a beautiful property. It was November, so it wasn't even very beautiful then, because now I look out the windows and the gardens are bursting and going crazy. And in November, of course, at Thanksgiving, they certainly aren't doing that.
Oh, interesting. So you didn't even get to see the best of it when you were deciding to buy it.
No, for
Wow.
months. So we drove by, they called their friend came over, we had wine and chatted about the venue and what it was all about. We were leaving the next morning to drive home after our Thanksgiving weekend, and we said, "Well, we're leaving at 4 a.m. Can we lay eyes on kind of the interior of the venue?" We literally just drove by on the street. And so they were actually having a wedding was happening at the time. And so we just came over here
You
and
crashed the wedding?
we crashed the wedding a little bit. We did a quick zip through the reception space. We had a few people look at this. There were like 4 of us that just walked through and looked and left.
Were you wearing wedding dress?
Oh,
guest
heavens,
attire?
no. I don't remember. I was
Because
probably in leggings.
usually venues don't let you do that. And I'm sure you probably don't let other people do that, right?
Well, I certainly wouldn't. No, of course not. But we were with the owner.
The owner was like, "I got to get this place sold."
Exactly. So we ended up staying here in the owner's office and chatting about just things for about an hour. And then John and I had a 15-hour drive home the next day.
Oh, you drove from Oregon to Southern California.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And we had a stop in there, but it was basically a full drive for,
Just
2
discussing.
days of what if and dreaming of possibilities and things. And the whole reason that we were even considering it was because our kids both went to college up in the Portland area
Oh, okay.
and fell in love with the Pacific Northwest and said, "Oh yeah, no, we're not coming home." And so I kind of tease, share with my couples on their tours, what's a mother to do but move to Oregon and buy a wedding venue
That is
to
so wow.
basically chase her kids.
That's crazy. Okay, so you wanted
Yeah.
to relocate to be closer to your kids. When this went on the market, so did it ever go on the market or it was never officially listed?
No, it was not listed. It
That is
it
so crazy.
was
And you
yeah,
you were like, "No, we'll never do that." But then John got a whiff of it and he was like, "Oh, maybe." That's crazy.
100%.
So when you had the drive home, was it mostly like John saying, "Christy, we can do it," and you're like, "I don't know." Like,
It was a
or was
lot
there
of
one of
that.
you that was kind of pulling, was he, would you feel like he was pulling more for it than you?
Oh, absolutely. John was
Wow.
the driving force for sure.
That's
I would have
crazy.
said I would have stayed in my happy little life in Southern California and um probably never thought another thing about it. Um,
What was your both of your industries before you bought the venue?
John is works for the Boeing company, and he still works for them. So he still has his day job, as we call it. And then there's his night and weekend job, which is Ainsworth House and Gardens. And he's in an engineering support role for Boeing. And I was a stay-at-home mom for 25 years. And I had some side gigs that I did at home. I just some part-time things. And I have a home-based business in sales that I still have. He and I were wedding coordinators at our church a long time ago before we
Oh,
even had
okay.
children. So we had a tiny bit of
Interesting
like
experience.
exposure. I wouldn't even call it experience. It's very different, being a wedding coordinator for your church versus owning a wedding venue. Obviously, it's very different. And we don't really do the coordinating. Part of our package includes a day of coordinator. So we have coordinators that kind of manage the wedding stuff.
Oh, that's really cool. That's awesome. So, okay,
Yeah.
so you said that you've owned it for 3 years, is that right? But there was the first 13 months were not, you
Yeah,
weren't fully
we've
transitioned?
Right. So we had to build a business plan. We met with multiple banks. During that year, I made several trips up here, worked alongside the a previous owner and just sort of learned the ropes a little bit. We, at one point, you know, we came and we saw the house. We have part of our house is for public use, so we have the changing rooms for the couple in our house.
You
So
guys live on site?
yeah,
Okay, so this was like like your home coming with the venue.
yes,
Okay, house and gardens. Okay, gotcha.
right, right. I needed to see the house. I needed to see the private space where I would live, before I ever
And this
would
is what we're
commit
looking at
to
right now, right?
Yeah, this is my family room.
Okay,
So this
perfect.
Yeah, this is in the upstairs of the house. So the house was built in 1851. Um,
Wow.
and it's the it was built for Captain John Ainsworth. He was a steamboat captain on the Willamette River,
Oh,
which is
wow.
not too far away from where we live. Um,
That's so cool.
and he captained the Oregon's first steamboat, as a matter of fact. I just learned this morning, actually.
Wow, my goodness, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce here in Oregon City, and we had our networking meeting at a museum, the Museum of the Oregon Territory. And there was a picture of the Lot Whitcomb, which is the name of the boat that he captained. It's actually the name of our street.
Wow,
Yeah, and Lot Whitcomb was the business partner of John Ainsworth.
that's really cool.
Anyway, so yeah, it was kind of a fun fact this morning. I was taking pictures of the display and sending it to John. Um, So anyway, so we wanted to see the house. I wanted to see the house. Just, can I live in this house? This is a 175-year-old house. It's pretty. Anyways, so I could see beyond some of the things that I would have wanted to make some improvements to, and mostly it
Sure.
was just cosmetic things. We weren't doing
You
construction or
had the
anything like that. But
remodeling lens on, yeah.
yeah,
A
yeah.
cosmetic is
And
easy to fix too. Structural
yeah,
is where it's a little harder.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, we didn't do anything with that, and we wanted to certainly maintain the integrity of the historic home. We definitely
Sure.
feel like we are stewards of this house, and it's one of the older homes in Oregon City. If you don't know, probably a lot of people don't know, but Oregon City is the end of the Oregon Trail.
I
So
did
there
not
was
know that.
lots. Yeah, so there was a kind of a booming mill business with, logging and a paper mill, and anyways, so it's it's a pretty interesting little town.
Yeah, this is so fascinating. Do you feel like the more that you just work on the property, the more history you tend to discover?
Probably. Now the reception facility is a modern building, and the house, of course, has all the modern amenities. We have electricity, plumbing, all of that was
Sure.
put in a long time ago. And then the reception facility is modern. And we have a couple of other buildings on the property. We're on just over 2 acres. And
Do you have any
so
displays of like some of the things you told me? Well, so I guess some of it you learned this morning, but just for like
um,
guests to read.
we do have on our website, we have a little bit about, there's a tab, I think it says Our Story. So it's a little bit about our story, mine and John's story about how we got here, just a snippet of that. But then there's a fair amount of history of the Ainsworth house and where it came from, how it came about, I guess is really more like it. There are a
Yeah.
couple of old photographs of the house. The house is a Greek revival style. So there's a portico and a balcony right this way is the front of our house. So outside my office window is our balcony. And then there's a whole back section of the house that was added on in 1896. I think the picture on our website was before I think that section was added. So it is super interesting. And I think I believe on our website, it's been a while since I looked at that section, but I think there's a little link that'll take you to a whole write up of the history of the house, and there's a lot of history of the area as well there.
That is so cool. I'm sure like that must feel cool as a bride too, just like knowing that you're on a historical property. So I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you a little bit more about the wedding plan. So do you do mostly weddings? Would you say like what percentage of your events are weddings?
Yes, we mostly do weddings. We probably do maybe 70-30, 60-40, something like that, weddings. And then other events sort of get added in with a much shorter lead time. We do celebrations of life, birthday parties, baby showers, bridal showers. We do a fair number of community events, the state of the city address by the mayor, the state of the public school system. They've done events here. Last week we had the Oregon City School District, their retirement celebration. So all the teachers that are retired, they have been here for the last several years and probably even before we were here doing their event here. So yes, mostly weddings, but we certainly do other events as
But you
well.
do a lot of other stuff too. Very cool.
Yes.
How many events like on average would you say you have per week, per month?
Well, per week or month is more difficult. Most of our events are happening in the spring and
Okay,
into
got it.
maybe mid-fall. We certainly do events all year round. We can do weddings all year round, but we have I would say this year we have maybe 60, between 60 and 70 events and booked. We just
Per year.
last weekend for the year, yeah.
Got
So
it.
last weekend was kind of the start. It was sort of it was our starting point of our busy season. So pretty much now until mid-October, we're booked just about every weekend with at least one wedding. And this past weekend we had 3 events, 2 weddings and a quinceañera. Um,
Wow.
and this weekend we have 2 events, and so yeah, it's busy.
Is
It's
it
our busy
hard,
season.
like, living on the property on the weekends? Like, are people partying, like, late at night and you're just, like, trying to go to bed?
Well, we do have a 10 o'clock stop time. So
Okay, gotcha.
so I think most of the venues in our area have a 10 o'clock stop.
Okay.
And so we do.
So that's your
But
or bedtime then, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean,
You can't go to
there's
bed earlier.
making sure everybody gets out and all of that. If I had it my way, we wouldn't necessarily be at the venue the whole time weddings were happening. And sometimes I can pry John away.
Because you said you have a coordinator, right?
Yes.
But are you
Yeah.
still at the reception,
Uh, we
or
pop in. We
okay.
definitely pop in just to check in, make sure everything's going smoothly. There
But
aren't
you
any
don't have to be
problems.
there, like, the whole time like the coordinator would.
No, correct.
Cool.
Yeah. John likes to be there a lot.
Yeah.
He's
This is
he's de-
his passion, right? This is all
well,
his doing.
yeah, yeah, kind of. I mean, and he's a doer. So
Yeah.
if there's a spill on the floor, he grabs them off and takes care of it. And so that's kind of his personality.
What do you think, like, what is there or, like, a mistake that some brides miss or something they miss that could help things go smoother? Or is every event at Ainsworth, it just goes off without a hitch because
Well,
your wedding coordinator is so good?
it certainly isn't that. I mean, there are hiccups, of course, but honestly, I think our coordinators do an awesome job of getting everything ready. Even if things don't go as smoothly as they could, for the most part, nobody knows it but us. And there might be some, snafus that a coordinator is working through. Hopefully, the couple doesn't even know about it. And
Sure.
they just get fixed and handled. Um, yeah. So, I mean, I think by the time wedding day is here and um, underway, things just go.
Have
People
you
kind of,
ever
I was just going to say, people kind of say, there's always going to be something that goes wrong on your wedding
yeah,
day. And,
yeah,
who knows, maybe it's you forgot the fans for the guests or, I mean, I don't
right.
know.
Yeah,
And so hopefully it's something little and inconsequential and not anything big. We've never had any big
and
situations happen.
disastrous, yeah. Have you ever
Mm-mm.
helped save a wedding?
Oh, I don't think so. Honestly, John and I were just talking this morning about, I think the word coming to mind is headache, but I don't necessarily, the biggest issue is often with catering.
Oh, interesting.
And it's we have a list of preferred caterers. We allow any outside vendor to come in and outside catering along with that. And I think caterers are often, the couple is aware of what our requirements are for staffing and just to make sure the evening goes well. And I think a lot of times caterers are like, oh, yeah, 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 we'll do that. We'll do that. We got it. And they don't do it. And then
Interesting. Yeah, you.
somebody
Interesting.
somebody like, but one of our big things is the tables have to be bussed and they have to be bussed all night. And it sounds dumb, but the photographer's there. And during toast, the photographer's taking pictures of your guests and your family at the tables. And if there's, beer bottles and empty plates and like it looks tacky. And so we have jumped in and bussed tables because
Wow.
we
Because
we
caterers
want
drop the ball.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you
And
said
we
you have
we want it to look nice.
yeah, that's like the level of detail I would not expect for. So you said you had preferred vendors, but you don't have like an on-site catering. Like that's not included in your
No,
package. Okay.
correct.
But you said you have staffing requirements for your catering companies. So what does that like look like when you're communicating with a bride? What are those requirements?
Well, staff, that means tables
You
are
said
being
busing
bussed
busing
continuously.
tables. Yeah.
We include dishware and glassware in our venue booking. And so all of that needs to be put out and tables set, and then they need to be bussed and run through our dishwasher and put away. Um, and then just enough staffing. If you have a wedding with 100 guests, you can't have two service staff. That's not enough people because somebody's got to be manning if they're doing a buffet, that somebody has to be manning the buffet and making sure that it's stocked. And, we require food handlers cards. So everybody has to have a food handler's permit so they know Has this food been out too long? Is it now not safe? Things like that.
Right.
So those are kind of the requirements that we would expect of our catering teams.
That's really cool. Is it pretty typical for wedding venues to have those kind of requirements, or is it something you guys that sets you guys apart?
No, I think it's very typical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And a lot of venues have in-house catering, so of course they're staffing it and it's all their stuff. It's their food, so it makes sense and it's logical that they're doing all of that. But for us, since we don't have in-house catering, we don't have an on-site kitchen, then they're pretty reasonable. The caterers that regularly do wedding catering, even the caterers that aren't on our preferred list, but that they come in and they regularly do wedding catering. They look at our list and they're like, "Yep, yep, yep. This is no big deal. This is what we do all the time." It's a lot, if you have somebody who has found their favorite food truck and, "Oh, we'll cater your wedding for you." Well, they
I
can do the
see.
food, but they don't have the staff.
Gotcha. That's so interesting. That's a whole aspect I never knew about or never considered from I mean a vendor side of it. But I have seen some weddings get delayed because of food. Like as an
Yeah.
entertainer, I've had some, it doesn't happen often, but I have had some times where like the entertainment starts an hour late because the food was an hour late. So
Yeah.
that's really interesting.
Yeah. And
Cool.
I think, speaking of entertainment, I think having the right entertainment can definitely make or break a reception. Most of our couples are bringing in DJs. When they don't and they're doing a DIY situation, it's never
Is that
great.
like an iPod and a speaker kind of thing?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have an indoor sound system that we can add on and hook people up, but it's, the professional DJ knows how to be an MC. They know how to, make the evening flow. And when the dance party starts, they, if
They can
people
read the
are super
crowd.
slow, yes. And if they're super slow to get on the dance floor, they're going to change the music. Like, let's get people out there and, uh,
One of my favorite tricks, I was at a wedding once, and right when it was like they did all the first dances and dinner was done, all the toasts, they were about to dance. The DJ just had everybody come up on the floor for group pictures. Like, we're going to get a group picture of everybody in the wedding. And the photographers came, they got this big group picture of everybody. And then he just hit the track and everyone's already on the dance floor. So they're all
exactly.
dancing. That's what a
That's cool.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite tricks. I've DJ'd a couple of weddings. I do more piano bar stuff now, but we also do a post-show DJing too. So yeah. Okay, cool. I have some other fun. You want to answer some fun questions?
Sure, because
Okay.
I've been so great at answering your
You've
questions.
done amazing. You've done amazing. Okay, what wedding trend do you secretly wish would disappear? Maybe these questions are too hard.
No, I feel like we don't. I mean, I'm thinking, of course, back in the day when I got married, there were all kinds of things.
Like the
Um,
garter toss. That's the one that
yes,
comes to mind for me.
that's exactly what came to mind. As a matter of fact, we rarely see it now, but every once in a while we see it, and it surprises me. It's like, dang,
Yeah.
they're actually doing this. Just the bouquet and the garter toss.
But the bouquet toss is still pretty common, right?
No,
Oh, really?
we don't see it very often at
Oh,
all.
interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I
Um,
see it like 50-50.
okay.
I did meet with a bride the other day she wanted a garter toss, and I saw it and I was like really surprised. And I always meet with them and just say, okay, so what do you mean by the garter toss? Because the full tradition is the garter's on the bride, right? And the
Yes,
husband,
I recall.
I think I didn't do this at my wedding, but I think my brother did. He got married, I don't know, maybe like 15 years ago. So it might have still been common then. But so the garter's on the bride. She wears it all day. And then her husband takes it off in whatever manner he wants, right?
Oh,
Which is
yes.
sometimes including no hands. And
Super
then
cringy.
I know, he throws it to the eligible bachelors, all the single men.
Right.
And who the, I don't know, folklore or whatever is that whatever single guy catches it is going to be the next to get married. And then she does the bouquet
Right.
toss, and whatever single lady catches the bouquet is the next girl to get married. And then the guy who catches the garter puts it on the girl who caught the bouquet. So
Oh,
it's
I
like,
haven't seen that.
you haven't seen that? Okay. So
No.
I grew up in a really big family. My dad he's one of 7 and my mom is one of 8. And just my whole childhood, I went to like 4 weddings a year. So I
Oh,
saw
wow.
so many things. So yeah, so the full tradition is the guy who catches the garter puts it on the girl who caught the bouquet. And so it's a stranger, usually, putting it on
Yeah.
a strange girl. And people would
Right.
just do it. So it's funny, but that was really, I remember that being like a common thing in my childhood of seeing that
Okay.
at weddings. And then now as a vendor, it's usually, if you see anything, it's just the bouquet toss. So I met with this bride the other day and I was like, so this is the full tradition. Is that what you want? And she was like, no, like she was clutching her pearls. And she's like, all I want is him to just throw a garter. He's just going to have one. It's not going to be on anyone's leg. He's just going to throw it and someone's going to catch it and
Oh,
that's
okay.
it. So, but I was surprised to see, I was like, is she doing the full tradition? I know I haven't seen the full tradition since I was a kid. So yeah,
That's funny. Yeah.
yeah,
As a matter of fact, there have been, and I'm not over in the reception space, like I said, for the whole time. And I'll
sure.
pop over and a lot of times we'll get galleries from the photographers who are shooting the weddings. And so we'll get that, many weeks later. And so I'll usually just scroll through just to see. And I have seen some bouquet and garter tosses. I feel like mostly bouquet. And
It's
it
usually
surprised
just
me.
bouquet. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
And it's just when I've seen the pictures, it's like, I didn't know they did that. And not that I would, because I'm not coordinating. I'm not,
I think, what did I do at my wedding? Gosh, I don't even remember. I think I did. I want to say I did just the bouquet too at my wedding, but that's crazy. I don't even remember. I got
Oh
married like
yeah, we
6
we
years
did
ago.
both.
You did
We did
you did
both.
both?
It was 34 years ago. So yeah, we
Yeah,
did both.
that was so sweet. Do you remember a lot of details of your wedding? No, I know. I'm like, I'm already forgetting. Okay, let's see that. So I don't know how much, like you said, you kind of pop in and out. So some weddings you might be there more than others. But okay, there's the next one. What is the funniest thing a drunk uncle has done at a wedding that you've seen?
Well, I don't know that it definitely wasn't a drunk uncle because it was a drunk woman. Um
Sometimes they're
and
crazier.
yeah. Um and it wasn't even necessarily funny. It was kind of terrible. It was not a good situation. And there were, I think at one point, 4 women with this gal in the bathroom and kind of trying to help her. And then she was leaving and yelling at somebody because of some infidelity or some presumed
Yikes.
infidelity. And she thought like it was just this crazy it was a kind of a crazy situation. And typically, our coordinators are good about keeping an eye on the alcohol consumption. And all of our bartenders, of course, they're typically coming through the caterer and they're all permitted. So they have rules. But we've also seen people sneaking alcohol.
Right.
They'll
And you
go
don't
out to
know
their
how much they
car.
had before they got there too, right?
Exactly.
Do
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
allow shots?
No.
Most wedding venues that's like it's not allowed. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some fairly strict alcohol rules, and we don't even serve hard alcohol. We do allow hard alcohol in the form of signature cocktails, but we don't serve them all night even. We just like right after dinner at toast, hard alcohol just goes away.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's most of our couples are very happy about that. And they're
Sure,
like,
yeah.
"Yep, you know, we don't need hard alcohol night."
Yeah.
So,
There's a happy medium, right? It's like the bell curve. It gets fun and then it gets not so fun anymore
yeah,
after a certain
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Okay. I have one last question and then we'll wrap it up. So,
Okay.
what moment at weddings still gets you emotional after you've seen hundreds of them?
I just got chills. And I think a lot of times if I'm out at the ceremony space, um, I John and I will kind of hang way in the way back. We stand under a tree and just we'll get some pictures of the whole kind of this whole scene. And then usually I like to skedaddle from the ceremony space and I like to congratulate the couple. They're obviously the first ones that leave the area and they're just by themselves. And so I love that and a lot of times I kind of get to be a fly on the wall because they don't necessarily know that I'm there and I'm not hiding or anything creepy. I'm just there and they're not paying attention, which but they're just super excited. And they're just like, "We did it. We're married." Or just something it's just sweet. It's
Yeah.
so I like
It
that.
is it is funny for me, like, from the vendor side of things, I will sometimes just tear up watching, like, the vows, and it's crazy because 'cause I'm like, "I do this all the time," and
Yeah.
I'm still just like, "Oh."
Yeah, and sometimes during the ceremonies, if they're doing if they've written their own vows and I I find myself like my face hurts because I've just been smiling the whole time. And
Aw.
so it's like that's so sweet and sometimes, the couples are just sweet
Yeah,
and maybe I made a connection, a particular, a special connection with them when I toured them and they've been back to the venue a couple times and I usually try to pop in when they're meeting with their coordinator just to say hi and how's the planning going? Is everything going great? That kind of thing. Um,
yeah. You feel like you can tell when, like, certain couples are just very much in love, you know? I don't know
yeah,
if that's the case, but there's some times where you just, like, see the way they look at each other and you're just like, "Wow, like, they're gonna make it," you know?
yeah, yeah.
Well, Chrissy, it was so great talking to you. How can
Thank you.
people reach out? How far in advance do you guys book weddings?
Well, we're booking well into 2027 at this point. I still have 2026 dates available. I'm still touring couples for weddings later this year, as well. I've toured a handful of couples looking at 2028 also.
Okay, cool. What's the best
So
way for them to reach out to you?
definitely our website, which is ainsworthhouse.net, and our email address is on the website. We also have a link to kind of get our pricing brochure and connect with us that way as well.
Okay, cool. Do you have an Instagram if people want to find you there?
Ainsworth House and Gardens.
Beautiful.
Yep,
Awesome.
and
Well,
I
it
think
was
yeah, the "and" is spelled out because our logo, our name is an ampersand for the
okay.
and, but I don't think you can have that on Instagram, so it's and, A-N-D. So,
Ainsworth House and Gardens. And
correct,
Ainsworth is spelled Ainsworth, correct?
correct. Yep.
Cool. Well, Christy, it was so
Yeah.
nice talking with you and
Yeah, you
chatting about
too.
your story and a little bit of the wedding industry. And hopefully I'll be able to stop by and get a tour someday.
I would love it. I would love it. Yeah, when you're here visiting your brother, right?
Yes, yes. I'm actually
Okay.
there in 2 weekends. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Cool.
cool. All right. Well, we're signing off. Thank you guys for joining us and for another episode of Eventful Endeavors.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.